All right, this is Dr. Smith, and thank you for taking this challenge. Uh, the reason I'm kind of caught up with words and everything else right now because I was looking at a recent report that showed that American students, their math scores suck. And I really shouldn't say that. Let me put it this way. They have regressed back to the 2003 standards. And I'm not going to go into all the little research and stuff on it. Just let you know that they haven't. So guess what? It's time for us to do something. I am a retired math teacher for 20 years, and I was a former Marine. But I love teaching math, computer science. And so I'm retired, but I want to still be able to continue to share my insights concerning math and how to make math fun and engaging. My whole thing right now is teaching math to students who have given up on learning. And right now also by using AI and other technology. And so now that I'm retired, I'm able to do that. Okay? So this is about making football of us watching our games. I love watching my football. I'm a Navy fan. That's why I got Navy did a good year this year. You know, we even beat Army and we also beat Oklahoma. So, but this is about how to connect something that we love to do, but also to help our kids, your kids, my students. And one of those ways I did when I was growing up, my dad played cards. They would, whenever everybody would get together for family activities, it wasn't about movies, it wasn't technology, computers didn't exist when I was brought up. But one of the things that it did was is that we had activities, and one of the games was playing cards. We used to play spades. I know some people play poker, but with the family outings, we were playing spades. If we were the young kids, when I was teenagers, we were playing spades, or we were playing hearts, dirty hearts. My parents were playing a card game called Bid Whiz, which is a bidding game, but they wasn't playing any money. But it was a strategic game that you had to be able to count your cards, 52 cards, knowing that there were 4 suits, there were 2 black suits, there were 2 red suits. You see how I'm going over these numbers? And I'm able to repeat this information because this is what I did when I was little and played games. But the most important thing it did was that it motivated me and made me love math and numbers. I would love to doing the get-togethers with my families, and I would give my uncles a calculator when they were out, or a piece of paper, and tell them they can have the pen and paper, but I can calculate in my head faster than they can write it out. I used to get a lot of money from them. It was fun. It was a joke, but they made math fun. Every activity. When I would get together as families, my uncles, my aunts and cousins were always asking me about how am I doing in school, my grades. And why was that? It was because math was a key to us doing well in school. And that's what it was. But they didn't really know. I don't think they actually had a plan of what they were doing. But what they did ensured that myself and all my cousins that I grew up with, we all went to college. I went to United States Naval Academy. My brother went to United States Air Force Academy. All of my first cousins that we associated with all went on to universities. They wind up becoming teachers. Me and my brother wind up going in the military, and I wind up finishing up as a teacher. Why? Okay. So anyway, I'm just saying it works, and it helps creating generational wealth or good living or generational middle class. That's what we are. We are a generational middle class family because of math. Okay. So with that in mind, I really didn't plan on doing that, but I wanted to kind of share about my story on it. So now let's talk about these math sheets here, the football sheets. And I'm doing this off the cuff. I didn't rehearse it. But I want to share it with you. So when I came up with this idea, I said, you know what? I remember doing the scorecards, going and watching the Cardinal baseball games with my dad. And we would all have our own score sheets. And at the end, we would get together and compare the numbers and stuff. And we would discuss the numbers and the percentages about batting averages, about earned run averages and stuff became real to me because I knew about the numbers and we worked it. As a result, when I went into school, I was intrigued about anything concerning numbers. So let's do the same thing. Football is a game that goes on. We have football and we have baseball. So I am going to encourage you that if you love baseball, you need to teach your kids how to use a baseball score sheet. And since we're now here in football, and today in a couple of hours, matter of fact, in about 1 hour, My Chargers are going to be playing the Houston Texans. I want to talk about this. Okay, so here it is. So I gave you a link. I spent about an hour and a half trying to go through and find a score sheet that was going to be free. Okay, but also that was easy enough to use and understand. Because the main goal is to get your kids or my students or my former students to be engaged in learning math. All right, so with that, I'm done. Let's go into it. So I'm going to go over an overview of what you get on the download when you go to the link. And if you would download the link, I would actually encourage you to print it out so that you have the copies that you can see here side by side. It would make it easier for you to understand and follow along. Okay, so first of all, we have offensive stats. See here, you got a space where you write the home team, the place is the location where the game was, the visiting team, who is the visiting team, and the date. You have here a table here, which you're actually going to record the first downs, which in this case, you're talking about the first downs of one team. You have one for the home team, and you have one for the visiting team. So you actually will be doing two separate stacks of these sheets and stuff like that. Make sense? So we want to have one set for the home team, one set for the visiting team. Okay, so for the first downs, all you're going to do is just simply put an X in there. Then for penalty yards, you get penalties. You just go ahead and put those in there. Here we have rushing for the number, the player's number on their jersey. Like mine is 19. I think you can see it, 19 here. And you put the player's name, and this has 3 boxes up. It has a square, but it has 3 boxes. We're going to get into it. But the way that you use those is going to allow you to get total rushes, total yards, longest run, touchdowns, conversions, and also fumbles. Okay, so we will be able to get that from the information that we put in here. Then we also have passing because we have our quarterbacks that love to throw that ball. So again, we have the same configuration here. And this, when we do it right, we're going to be able to know the completed passes, the pass attempts, interceptions, total yards, TD passes, longest, and fumbles. Same thing for the receiving, catches, yards, longest catch, touchdowns, conversions, and fumbles. Conversions are like for 2-point conversions if they get it. Okay? And here is your defensive. So that was offense. Offense did rushing, passing, and receiving. Now for defense, you notice that it has all these squares, but they go from 1 to 99. And for today, you're probably going to make sure on your sheets put a 0 here, because as I've been watching some of the college football playoff, we do have players which are in college and also NFL, which actually has a 0 for their number. But the way this sheet works is that you notice you have a legend. So you put an A for an assistant, a BK for block kits, BPT for block punt, FC for fumble cause, fumble recovery, hurry quarterback, interception, passes, defended, sacks, safety, tackles, and tackles for loss. And what you do is very simple. If player number 67 had a tackle, you go here to this box for 67 and you put a T. If he did a sack, you put a SK. If he did a passes defended by batting down the ball, PDs, you put it on the C4. Okay, so that's what it is. Next, you have a place here for special teams. Again, the same 3-box scenario in which we're going to use as a legend. I'm going to show you. But when we do it right, we're going to have return attempts, total yards, longest, fair catch, touchdowns, etc. Okay? And so we do that for punt returns, kick returns, punts, and kickoffs. See, this sheet has everything separated by action for offense and defense and special teams. That's why I like this sheet. Okay, so now the next thing you have is scoring. So anytime there is scoring, you're going to put the player's number, their name, and how did they score? It's either a touchdown, a point attempt, or a conversion, 2-point conversion, or a field goal, or a safety. Those are the different ways that we score. And again, how many points for touchdowns? 6. Point after 1 point. Conversions, 2. Field goals, 3. And a safety is 2. Okay, so that's how we do that. Now let's go into actually how you actually do the scoring. And I'm going to rotate this around so you can get it. And I'm going to blow it up so it'd be easier to do. Okay, so here's a sample sheet on how you do a score. And this is also included in that link. Now let's go back here to our legend. Our legend here has an A for yards on the play, B for the cumulative yards. Cumulative means that you're cumulating or adding up the total yards that the player has done. And C is for special play. So for rushing, what is a special play? Like he runs for a 2-point conversion, or he runs for a touchdown. It's something that happened on that play. What if you run and you don't make any yards? I mean, they block you. Well, that's a 0. And that's why they got the 0 here. So let's look at it very closely. So this is player number 34. His name is Richard Sanchez. And let's follow along how we're going to record. His first rush he does for 4 yards. So we have 4 yards and 4 cumulative. The next rush he does is 3 yards. So he does 3 yards. And what's his cumulative? Well, you take 4 plus 3 is 7. His next rush is 7 yards. So then to get his cumulative, we go 7 plus 7 is 14. See how this goes? 14 plus 6 is 20. We did 4 yards, and then we get 24 plus 2 is 26. And then we get 26 plus 6 is 32. 32 plus 7 is 39. He has 0. 39 plus 0 is 39. 39 plus 2 is 41. 1 yard, 41 plus 1 is 42. Then he did 7 yards for 49. 49 plus 2 is 51. So now let's look. How do we figure out how many total rushes? Well, if you look, he did 12 rushes here and 2 here, so he did 14 rushes. Where we get his total yards, 51 yards is here. His longest run, we look here at the top. These are the yards that he got on each run. We had 7 here and 7 here, so his longest run was 7. Touchdowns, he scored 2 touchdowns. And how do we know that? You see here, the special play. They did a circle and a T, touchdown. And he did here, T, touchdown. So he had 2. Conversions, he had no conversions and he had no fumbles. Let's look at this one. In this case here, Willie, he did 3 for 3. Then we had 3. His next run was 2. So 3 plus 2 is 5. Then he did 5 plus 7 is 12. 12 plus 8 is 20. 20 plus 6 is 26. 26 plus 2 is 28. But also when he ran, guess what? Something happened special. He had a fumble. That's why they circle it and put an F. Then his next run was for 2 yards. And now his total runs are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 total rushes. Total yards was 30. His longest run is here is an 8. And we see 0 touchdowns, 0 conversions, and 1 fumble. Here's passing. Here's a quarterback. Same numbering system computer. First pass was 2. 2 plus 3 is 5. This one was incomplete because there was no yards, the same 5. Then he had 5 plus 5, and then this was a touchdown. So his total yards, and this one he kind of messed up. So I'm looking at 2 plus 3 is 5, and then nothing. Plus 5 would have been 10, but they did a touchdown. So he did a total here, and I think this actually is an error, but this is something that you want to work over with your kids. 14 plus 16 is 30. 30 plus 2 is 32. 32 plus 23 is 55. 55 plus 18, it goes on. Okay, so we can see he had 2 TD passes because of here and here. His 18 was his longest, and that's incorrect because this says longest was 18, but his actual longest was actually here for 23. All right. So here we got receiving. Again, you're going to see these errors when you actually, after you get done collecting scores, you want to compare them. And so this is part of the discussion to talk about the numbers and everything else to see who was right. Okay. Same thing here for the receiving. The same system. He had 1 TD there. This one, he had 1 TD that was actually for 11 yards. 11 yards. Longest catch, 11. His longest catch here is 18. This is correct. And then first downs, all we simply put as an X. And for penalties, you put them out. For defense, these are the different players. Number 17, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tackles, 2 assists. And the DP is, I don't know, DP, what that means. Drop, pass, I have no idea. They need to update it. Everything else here is FR, fumble recovery. We did that, sack, and that's where you go. So that's it. So have fun with this. I would go over and actually show this. You can actually show this to your kids where they can look at it. Or you can act smart as a genius that you are if you're the parent, is actually take a look at this and take the time for you to actually share and teach your kids. It works better if you do it like that. Okay, this is Dr. Smith. 1 hour into game time until my Chargers either win or lose against the Houston Texans. I hope your team wins. I hope you have fun with this. That's the main thing. Get our kids engaged by doing real life activity. This is how we make math fun. This is Dr. Smith. Have a great day.